Our next talk. This is another molecule that is coming in soon. Sotatercept is the first and only activin signaling inhibitor for the treatment of PAH in adults. Dr. Niraj Yadav.
Good evening, everyone. So, after some wonderful talks on molecules targeting coronary vasculature and myocardium, this is a molecule that is going to target uncommon but dreaded disease, pulmonary arterial hypertension. The objective of this presentation would be just to briefly overview the PAH pathobiology, understand the role of activin signaling in the pulmonary arterial hypertension, and introduce the Sotatercept, drug that is first-in-class activin signaling inhibitor, and review some clinical data that is available. Pulmonary arterial hypertension is group 1 of the WHO classification of pulmonary hypertension. It is characterized by precapillary PH and in absence of left heart disease, pulmonary disease, and thromboembolic pulmonary hypertension. Unlike your systemic hypertension, where tying the cuff in your clinic will give you a diagnosis, pulmonary hypertension, you need catheterization. Diagnosis is made when your mean pulmonary artery pressure is more than 20, pulmonary artery wedge pressure less than 15, and pulmonary vascular resistance more than 2 Woods unit. It is a rare disease, affects 2.3 cases per 1 lakh population. It affects more females than males. Almost 62% of patients are females. Unlike our previous understanding where we thought that it is a disease of young female, it is observed and the prevalence is increased with increasing age, with peak prevalence reaching in age 75 to 79 years. It carries a poor prognosis. If you have a diagnosis of pulmonary arterial hypertension, chances of 5-year survival reduces to 50 to 86%. So that is the reason PAH therapy is important. But till now, what we are addressing is one part of the pathology of pulmonary arterial hypertension. So pulmonary arterial hypertension is about vasoconstriction, cellular proliferation, and thrombosis. The molecules that we have till now is addressing the vascular tone and vasoconstriction part. There are 3 pathways. Prostacyclin and nitric oxide pathway it enhances the vasodilation. Endothelin is the potent vasoconstriction. So in prostacyclin pathway, endothelium generates the prostacyclin, which through IP receptor activates the adenylate cyclase and converts ATP into cyclic AMP, which is a vasodilator. Endothelial nitric oxide synthase produces nitric oxide that stimulates cyclic guanylate cyclase and converts GTP into cGMP. Endothelin pathway through endothelin receptor A produces potent vasoconstriction. So the therapies affecting prostacyclin pathways are iloprost, treprostinil, which is not available. Only available drug is selexipag, which is actually IPR agonist. Nitric oxide pathway, we use PDE5 inhibitor, which actually prevents the breakdown of cyclic GMP into GMP, and thus by producing more cyclic GMP available for the reduced nitric oxide. So, an endothelin 1 pathway, we have a selective receptor antagonist embrisartan and non-selective receptor antagonist bosentan. As our understanding of pathology improved with pulmonary arterial hypertension, we have increasingly recognized a very important role of pulmonary cellular hyperproliferation. Activin signaling is the pro-proliferative signaling, where it is a member of TGF-beta superfamily, which helps and associated with the BMP signaling. So BMP is an anti-proliferative signaling. So normal pulmonary vascular endothelium there is a balance of activin and BMP pathway so that cellular proliferation does not produce the adverse remodeling. In pulmonary arterial hypertension, the activin is in excess. So what happens is that you have now more pro-proliferative signaling compared to anti-proliferative signaling. Activin is going to produce more smooth muscle proliferation, leading to thickness of the pulmonary vasculature, reduced caliber of the pulmonary vasculature, in turn increasing the PVR and right-sided ventricular dysfunction. How does the Sotatercept act? So Sotatercept act as a trap ligand. So what it does, it binds the excess activin in the circulation, and that leads to balance shifting more towards the BMP signaling. That is the anti-proliferative pro-apoptosis pathway, and that leads to reverse remodeling of the pulmonary vasculature by decreasing the smooth muscle cell proliferation, increases the caliber of the pulmonary vessels, reduces the PVR, and it in turn reverses the RV remodeling. There are two studies that are done to assess this molecule, Stellar and Zenith. Stellar is the study on basis of which the clinical use has been approved. It is a 24-week phase 3 randomized double-blind placebo-controlled trial done in adults with pulmonary arterial hypertension with stable background therapy. These patients were in class 2 or 3, and the primary endpoint was change from baseline in 6-minute walk distance at 24 weeks. Zenith trial, after a promising result of the Stellar trial, Zenith trial was done in much sicker patients with class 3 and class 4 at high risk of mortality. And the primary endpoint in this patient was time to first event of all-cause death, lung transplant, or PH worsening related hospitalization for more than 24 hours. Interim analysis showed more than 70% reduction in Sotatercept arm, and that's why this trial was prematurely stopped, because it was unethical to continue with such a remarkable improvement in the primary endpoint with molecule. We'll just go through the Stellar trial. It was a randomized double-blind control trial, 1:1 randomization to placebo and Sotatercept in background of the stable pulmonary vasodilator therapy. Most importantly, the primary endpoint was just change from baseline in 6-minute walk distance at week 24. And there were 9 secondary endpoints. Proportion of patients achieving MCI. MCI is multiple component improvement, that is defined by a patient achieving more than 30 meters of 6-minute walk distance, anti-pro-BNP reducing to less than 30%, and improvement in WHO functional class. Other secondary endpoints were change in PVR, anti-pro-BNP, WHO functional class, time to first occurrence of death, and non-fatal clinical worsening events, proportion of patients who maintained a low risk score at week 24 versus baseline, and there were patient-oriented outcomes like physical impacts, cardiopulmonary symptoms, cognitive emotional impacts, score in PH impact. Mean time of diagnosis of PH was 8.8 years, ranging from 1.8 to 15.8. 51% were in functional class 3. Majority of patients were having idiopathic pulmonary arterial hypertension that accounted for almost 58.5% of patients. Remember, 61% of patients had received triple therapy, and out of which 40% of these patients had a prostacyclin infusion in addition to the endothelin receptor antagonist and PDE5 inhibitors. Median age was 48 years and weight was 68 kg. Primary endpoint was it did well in achieving the primary endpoint. It increased 40.1 meter of 6-minute walk distance at 24 weeks compared to the placebo that was minus 1.4 meter. So Winrevair achieved primary endpoint, and this outcome was studied in all subgroups, and it did well in almost each and every subgroup of patients. Irrespective of the prostacyclin infusion, WHO class, and baseline PVR, the molecule improved 6-minute walk distance in majority of this patient, except those patients who received monotherapy, although the number was very less, only 4 of them. Coming to the secondary endpoint, almost 38.9% of patients achieved multi-component improvement defined by 6-minute walk distance improvement, NT-proBNP, and WHO functional class. It significantly reduced pulmonary vascular resistance adjusted to placebo. If you consider it, it was almost 2.9 Wood unit reduction, and that is very substantial in this sicker patient. It also reduced significantly in NT-proBNP, and this was not an endpoint, but exploratory mean pulmonary artery pressure data has shown that it significantly reduced the pulmonary artery pressure. Proportion of patients who improved their WHO functional class was significantly higher, 29.4 patients. And more interestingly, as the study progresses, you can see the shift of patient from functional class 3 and 2 to class 2 and 1 in 24 weeks. Minus 84% relative risk reduction was achieved in secondary endpoint of death and clinical worsening event. That is again a substantial reduction with this molecule. Patient remain or achieve improved to low French risk score, 39.5%, and this progressed as the study progressed. Also, the patient-reported outcomes were much better with Winrevair compared to placebo. The only endpoint that was not statistically different from the placebo was change from baseline in the cognitive and emotional impact domain score. So, in summary, Winrevair showed improvement in the primary endpoint, and 8 out of the 9 endpoints at the cost of few side effects. Patient had more incidence of epistaxis, telangiectasias, thrombocytopenia, and increased blood pressure. Although none of these side effects were severe enough to cause the treatment discontinuation, and the recommended dose of this medicine is 0.3 milligram per kilogram subcutaneous injection every 3 weeks, and it is titrated up to maximum 0.7 milligram per kilogram. Obviously, you need to monitor patients' blood pressure, platelet count, and hemoglobin throughout the therapy. It brings to the therapeutic indication of Winrevair. It is approved, most importantly, in symptomatic class 3, class 4 patients. Patients should be already on the background pulmonary vasodilator therapy, and the intention for giving this medicine is to improve the exercise capacity, functional class, and reduce the risk of clinical worsening events, including mortality. Thank you very much.
Thank you. I think this brings us to a very important concept, like 4 pillars you have in heart failure. You have 4 pillars in management of PAH. You already had 3. Now you have inhibition of the smooth muscle proliferation in the media. That's the 4th pillar of PAH therapy. So that was wonderful talk. I think we need to await the long-term data sets. If there are no questions, we can move to the next section. Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Is there any patient group had been taken away from the transplant group? See, they may be waiting for the lung transplant, these kind of patients. Are there any patients improved on these drugs and then they had been improved symptomatology, they had been taken away from the transplant list?
Yeah. So the trial, Zenith trial, was done in much sicker patients. These patients were class 3, class 4. These patients had a high risk, and many of these patients, so when they studied, the primary endpoint was enrollment in the lung transplant, death, and pH related clinical worsening leading to ICU hospitalization. And the reduction was substantial in form of almost 75%. Interim analysis showed that, and that was the reason that they had to stop the trial, because there was a clear benefit. More patients died in the placebo arm, more patients had to undergo lung transplant. So I think there was a reduction in the.
I think there is a combined endpoint, as we know. They have a primary point defined as need to a transplant, hospitalization, worsening, and death. So the combined endpoint, because these are rare patients, so it's the numbers. If you look, they are 7 versus 2. 7 patients died in the placebo arm, 2 died in. So the numbers are very few to actually look just as a transplant as an endpoint. Most of the PH trials, we look at Seraphin, Griffon, all of them actually looked at the trial in this fashion only. From Seraphin onwards, this is the endpoint, that's how they are defined. So transplant alone as a standpoint in a PH would require much, much bigger trial. Not only funding, but finding patients would also be rare.
Is there these medications will work only in this primary, or can we try in the other patients which will work same way so that they can symptomatically they may improve?
So it is recommended for only group 1 patients. So pulmonary arterial hypertension, that will include, so the patients enrolled were idiopathic pulmonary arterial hypertension, CTD related pulmonary arterial hypertension, some of the drugs related pulmonary arterial hypertension, but it should not be recommended in other groups of pulmonary hypertension like pulmonary vascular disease, left heart disease, thromboembolism. All those patients should not be.
I think there were 3.6% patients who were residual PAH post congenital defects corrected in the Stellar trial, not the Zenith, or maybe the other way around. But there were 3.6% patients, but this is a small number. But again, most of the PH trials have to go this way, and then only you can define for phase class 2, 3, and 4.
But these were repaired congenital heart disease, not Eisenmenger patients. So
yeah, these were repaired residual, correct? Repaired residual.
It may work. If you look at the mechanism, it should work. Why not? It will work for them also. Some of them are having hyper-responsive. Even with the LV dysfunction, you have got a phenomenal pulmonary artery hypertension. They also should work.
But then with the same logic, the surgeons started using sildenafil in mitral stenosis PAH, and they've burned their fingers very badly. So I think proof of the pudding will lie only in the eating. Let the data set come. I think the mechanism is correct. You are very much right that the hypertrophy of the media is what you are targeting, which would be in across the group. But till the data comes, I think we need to be cautious. Sildenafil in MSPH was used left, right, and center by the surgeons, and we know how the results were terrible. So that brings us to the end. Thank you.